Good morning, everybody. This is Martin John, and I am here to walk you through Tao of the Day. I believe it's a Thursday. It's always hard to figure out what day it is sometimes. But yes, this is Tao of the Day, the Tao Te Ching, ancient text written about 600 BCE. And it is basically lays out how we can live a reasonable life. And I always kind of translate the Tao Te Ching as the canon of reason. So I'm inviting you to come up and pick a number between 1 and 81. That number will correlate with a chapter or verse of the Tao, and then that will be your Tao for the day. And this is a meditation, it's a way of living a reasonable life. Oftentimes, this also relates to things that are going on in your life, and you can relate those back to different experiences and bring in a little more reasonability into your life. Alex, how you doing, man?
Hey man, good morning. And I love what Wisdom's doing, and I love what you guys, the creators, are doing. So thanks for having me, Martin, and nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So you're new to wisdom, is that you?
Yeah, been on a few times, but not delved in deep yet. So here we are. So
Here
I
we are.
figured
I see you got
this,
4 talks and stuff and inspiring people. That's beautiful, man. Good
and
work.
I'm trying, yeah, and I'm trying to get others on my feed as well because I feel like all of you have a lot to offer. But uh, when I saw Tao the day, when I saw spirituality, I said, okay, this might be a way to make my morning start out. So, what you got for us? Like, I know you want us to pick a number. So,
Yeah, so
uh,
why don't you start picking a number between 1 and 81?
all right, my number I kind of love is 7. So let's go with 7.
We'll go with 7. Okay. So this is so are you familiar with the Tao Te Ching?
I'm not totally familiar, but yeah, I'm learning from
Loose,
you right now. So.
yeah, just a loose sort of history, written approximately 600 BCE. Um, they claim that it was written by Lao Tzu. That's arguable. All of the kind of like details are arguable. There are a lot of different translations of it. It's 81 chapters, and it translates roughly to the canon of reason or the way. And we look at it more as a philosophical rather than a
Religious.
religious text. Yeah. So it's not like there is Taoism, and that's religious Taoism, and and the philosophical and religious Tao both kind of stem from the same place. But when we look at the Tao Te Ching alone, we kind of look at it from a spiritual, reasonable way. It's like we're looking to live a reasonable life in an open spiritual way.
Mm, I like that, and I mean I'm curious after you tell me my number, but I love to talk about adaptability, right? So
Mm-hmm.
how can Taoism help us adapt to everyday life, especially as we're now transitioning out of COVID? I feel so.
Yeah,
Maybe
and
you
we're
can answer that
transitioning out
question.
of a whole lot more than that too, on energetic levels and other things like that. So there's going to be a lot of really just being able to kind of be present in the way that things are changing and altering.
Very.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and read through this, and you're going to give me your initial thoughts, and then we'll go through it line by line and see how it relates back and what we're hearing here.
And would I don't know if I could share this talk on my talk, but I'll definitely want to share this on my podcast if you're okay with that, because I want to get all of our guys out there in the world. So I'd love to share this with my podcast if that's okay once it's done.
Absolutely, 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 and yeah, and I have a Tao of the Day podcast as well on Spotify that every episode of this gets uploaded to, so that'll be there. But I'll be able to share this with you as well.
Very cool. Well, what you got for me? The number 7.
All
Let's
right,
hear it.
so the Tao is infinite, eternal. Why is it eternal? It was never born, thus it can never die. Why is it infinite? It has no desire for itself. Thus, it can be present for all things. The master stays behind. That is why she is ahead. She is detached from all things. That is why she can be one with them. Because she has let go of herself, she is perfectly fulfilled. Thoughts?
That's pretty deep, and I was actually just looking at my girlfriend. I'm like, yeah, she is one with herself, so I could feel that energy right now as you're talking about it. So
Yeah.
how do we as guys stay one with ourselves? Because I feel like we get all wrapped up in our thoughts, and I don't know, it just we get more intense. So how does Taoism help us let go?
Well, right. So as we look at this, right, like the Tao. So what it's talking about, the she. In Chinese, there's no gender. So he and she doesn't exist. And so Stephen Mitchell, the translation that I'm reading, translates the master into both male and female. So when we're referencing female here, it's not always referenced as female. The Tao is the feminine, right? So when we look at religious text, when we look at a lot of religious text, especially like in the Christian sects, we tend to look at God as being masculine, and there's a lot of action in that, right? There is a lot of me telling you that I want to receive your praise, me telling you what you can do. And masculine, not men, but the masculine energy is one of structure. It's one of, if you put walls up, you will have a house. But the feminine, and the Tao is a feminist text. Like it is a text that kind of revolves around the feminine. The Tao and the feminine is the void. It is the thing that is used. It is the space that makes the house livable. Right. So you could build structure and like look at the house, and that's the masculine. The house, the stuff of the house is the masculine, but it's actually the space in which you live that is the feminine.
Huh.
And that doesn't have anything to do with men and women, right? Because I mean, men, like women are the thing that is, it's hard to say this in some contexts, but women have void. Women have a yielding nature, right? And men have a more penetrating nature. Like if we
True.
were to look at it in these kind of sexual terms, but also in just lifestyle, right? There is this whole. Now when we talk about the Tao, it is the great feminine, it is the void of all things, and then you have an edge of the universe. That edge and the universe
Right.
is the masculine thing, right? In order to experience the void, you have to be able to have an edge, otherwise it is nothing.
How, because I kind of learned about this years ago, but I feel like Taoists in text, in reading about them, they kept that space even while, China was not a good country to live in, but they kept that space while living there. Has it evolved Taoism since then? Like how has it evolved, I guess, and
Well, I mean, we can get into Hawking's book.
I love history, so I love the historical aspects of these different
Yeah,
concepts, I
we
guess.
can start talking about the loss of power of religion, and like even I mean, Buddhism has held up well over the years. Taoism is interesting because like there's so many different approaches to Taoism. Like the Taoist as a religion has, they have many gods and what have you, and we say like China wasn't a good, like I don't know what like when you say China wasn't a good place to live, I don't know what that refers to. Um, when that refers to, like if you're talking about the at the time that this was written, or before then, or after then, or what. But as we relate to this Tao, right, we start going through it kind of line by line, and what we find is that the Tao, what it states in the beginning is the Tao is infinite, eternal, right? And this is ultimately how we kind of start with a lot of religions, right? God never began, he was always here. um and it breaks it down, and one of the interesting things of when it breaks it down, it says, why is it infinite? And it states that it has no desire for itself, thus it is present
Mm,
for all beings. And later on, if we recall, it's going to talk about the master that way, the individual, you, I, your girlfriend, right? Your wife, or whatever, right? Like we're all masters. Now, if we
right.
can live our lives with no desire for ourselves, then we'll be able to be present for all beings. If you go into your relationship with your girlfriend and you have a desire for yourself in that relationship, like you desire to rid yourself of your loneliness, let's say, well, there may be a day that your girlfriend or your wife can't do that for you for whatever reasons. And then you can no longer be present for them because the relationship and your desire is for yourself, is not, is not just like you have a desire for yourself.
So if
And
we were
as
to,
soon as you have a desire for yourself, you align people in your life to fulfill that.
I feel like with our phones and everything, being present is not easy. So does Taoism help us? Can we modernize it in a way that keeps us present for today? I feel like you're modernizing it for even the Wisdom app,
Yeah,
Mark.
yeah. Yeah, I do. Like, there is a line that says, "Those who talk don't know; those who know don't talk." Like, and here I am talking all about it. Like you cannot understand. You cannot understand the Tao. But so when you talk about your phones, like, well, what is your desire for your phone? Is your desire to and I talk about addiction a lot. So I have 21 years clean and sober, and a large aspect of what I talk about is what is it we're recovering
Congratulations, by the
to?
way,
Oh,
21
thank you.
years.
Thank you. And we talk about what is it we're recovering to. And so when we do that, when we talk about what is it we're recovering to, we have to really kind of take into consideration this idea of who am I, right?
Wow.
And when I get to recover who I am dropping off the fear. I'm sloughing off all of the need for, like, because what is my phone if not an addiction?
Right. And a lot of the times when we look at it, it's really just an object that we need, but it's not our life blood, if you will.
Right.
But the recovering too, that's very interesting because a lot of people talk about recovering from. So how does one
That
make
is a
that
very
difference?
important aspect of the journey, but it is not the end. Actually, recovering from keeps us looking over our shoulder at that which is behind us, and that keeps us living in fear.
Well, I'm so glad I got to meet you today, Martin, and I'd love to keep in touch. And I'm definitely going to tune in when you go on and talk about this because it's giving me a little more grounding right now. And I feel that's the basic of Taoism, isn't it? Not
It is.
grounding and just staying grounded for sure.
Yeah, and this chapter wraps up with this really beautiful sort of analogy with the Tao as the great all being and the master, the person who is in touch with themselves. The master stays behind. That is why she is ahead. Like that's an interesting sort of way of looking at things, right? Like it's about being humble here and present for other things. It's not about, it doesn't necessarily mean like I so much of our culture is about getting ahead and being seen as getting ahead and
Right.
being, like, and all of these sorts of interactions of, like on our phones and in our relationships. But if we could literally, like as it says, like have no desire for ourselves, we could be.
So wouldn't the advice? I feel like what you're saying is that if we could just stop posting everything on our lives and just work on it, and then post the final product of what we're working on, that would be better. In other words, because
Yeah,
that's sort of staying
I
behind.
love the idea of quietly going about your business.
Well, I feel like
you
that's
know?
your energy too. Is that you're here and you're doing what you can to make a difference. So I could feel that.
Yeah.
Uh, this is my first wisdom join, so thank you for letting me into
Oh,
this
thank you for
space
joining.
here.
Yeah.
But I've got to ask because you talk about president and whatnot. Do you find that some of these chats go off the wire because maybe someone's not as focused when they're talking, or how do you like the
I'm
chat aspect?
I've been working on my ability to interview and to have conversations for a long time. Like I'm an artist and I did portrait work, and so one-on-one conversations are kind of my jam. And I know how to do that. And I know when people start to get off, I can give them space to see if it comes back, and if it doesn't come back to the point, especially if I have one. like today we go through the Tao, and if we get off topic, like I've had people come on and just want to rant about things because that's where they're at. Well, it's my job as the interviewer, as the person who started the room, to be able to bring them back. There are times where you'll, and I can change my title. Even I can go in and I can change my title, so my talk can be changing and evolving and stuff as I talk. So there, wisdom, I it's a great community, and we're all
I heard it
getting
was app of
better
the
and
day
better.
yesterday, and that's for a reason, is it not?
What's that?
We were app of the day yesterday. I heard this app was an app of
Oh
the
yeah,
day in Apple, so
yeah.
it's growing. I got a few seconds left, but Martin, thank you. And hey, if you ever see that I'm on, join me, and I'd love to talk to you as well
Will
on my
do,
own
will
feed.
do. I'm looking forward to it.
So thanks
Thank
again,
you so
sir, and
much.
and enjoy the rest of your day. And I'm definitely gonna try and stay grounded after this for sure.
Sounds good. Thank you for joining. Yeah, and I'm just going to finish up with this last line: because she has let go of herself, she is perfectly fulfilled. And Alex, I just want you to recognize, like, that's the last line, and it often relates back to the first line, right? The Tao is infinite and eternal. And if you can let go of yourself, if you can let go of your desire, if you can let go of the identity that you hold on to, you can be fulfilled right now. Because not being fulfilled is just not necessarily liking what's happening, but that's just judgment. Oh, Dr. Rao's going to join me. Dr. Rao. Dr. Rao is one of the few people. Dr. Rao and Bella are two people that I don't require numbers from. How you doing, Dr. Rao?
Very good, Martin, my brother. I just want to greet you. That's why I came up.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's always nice. I was always nice. I think I heard you. I don't know if it was this morning or last night on someone else's channel, and I was just happy to soak it in.
Yeah. Yesterday was a significant day for our community, wisdom community, if you can call it a community. I
Yeah.
think we are. App of the day, and also Elon Musk came on, right? So,
Oh, I didn't know Elon Musk came onto the app.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then he came into a few people's rooms, and then he stuck with Sonia for 2.5 hours. I was also there.
Oh,
And
wow.
I went to the whole interview, and I was analyzing that interview. I wanted you to do that with you. That's why I thought I will mention this to Martin. What does he think about it? Yeah, that was uh, a very down to earth, personable, um, very warm and easygoing person. We didn't see the have all the hang-ups of being a billionaire or world's richest man or any of that. I didn't say it.
Yeah.
I liked him very much. So that was good. And I asked him a question, and then he was mentioning about money just is a paper, doesn't mean anything, and what you are, real person inside that is matters and all that, right? But more than person, I think it's beyond that. There was one question, Martin. I think people, even Elon Musk, also may not look at it that way. I thought, well, that question was, what do you do in the morning for you to be able to do so many things? You're doing this electric vehicle or solar, or you're doing satellites, you're doing all those things, right? So they asked him, and he said, oh, I get up, I take a shower, I take breakfast and go to work. you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
but what I thought was, he was coming from his first altruistic thinking, like what is going to happen to the world with the pollution. Let's go for the electric vehicle. And I have followed his career from the beginning. He has gone through a rough times, and then almost to the bankruptcy, and then they came. That's all because of the conviction from within, right? I think there's divine reasons for these things, so that is there. But then he thought through the world problems and wanted a solution for that, right? That was
Mhm.
one thing. So establishing himself in the purpose of life, that was what gives him a lot of energy. That's one thing. Other thing is, he goes and works like an ordinary person with all his members. You know, the work atmosphere they have, they don't have these divisions of CEO, all this. We have the traditional corporate structure where hierarchical structures, right? But they don't have that in Tesla.
Right.
They work, and then he also mentioned that I work with workers as a family members.
Yes.
So there is a clue. The clue is that he goes there and gets immersed in the execution of his vision and participate that not with any hang-ups. Like I
Right.
am
Right.
the chief or I am the billionaire, I am the one, none of that, you know. And that is where the flow state comes into his aid. Because he
Yes. Yeah.
that means what? He kind of transcended the ego part of it, at least to that extent.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
so that's what my reading was. I could be wrong, but that is what I.
Oh.
Uh,
It's always hard
yeah,
to, because it's it's who knows,
yeah.
right?
Um,
Like, because the thing
fact,
is like,
these are the facts stating at me that he does go to the purpose to the and then he kind of engages himself again and again in that purpose that he has for the life, for the other people and everybody else. He's not doing just for the money, you know. He's not just doing for the fame or wealth and all that. So that was apparent from his talk yesterday, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
But he was doing it for some altruistic purpose that is going to help many people. That means he is doing something bigger than himself, and then in the journey of bigger than himself, you know, when you are trying to achieve. Viktor Frankl saying, he said that happiness is in journey of trying to achieve something, in the process of achieving something for many or bigger than yourself, not
right,
just, you know. That's what we know about that, you know, very simple thing.
yes,
But he is in that journey all the time. That's why he's able to do so much. That's the point.
yeah, yeah, just constantly being here, present
Yeah,
now, as it is. Like, wait, like, and that's why he can just wake up,
yeah.
have a
Like
shower.
you were reading about the desire for the personal versus the bigger. That's what we are talking about, you know.
Yeah,
Not the personalized, small, limited self, limited life, accumulation of wealth for me or fame for me. None of that I saw in Elon Musk, you know. I
right,
thought
yeah.
that was very, very telling, and our community should take note of that, you know. And then if we are claiming that we are the wisdomers, learn the wisdom from the interview and right. So
Absolutely.
I enjoyed that interview very much, and then I asked a couple of questions, and then he answered very nicely. But you know, not everybody can be knowing about the Tao or Brahman yet, but they have their journey. That's fine. I have no problem with that, you know. But overall, that interview, I think you should go and play that and listen to Sonia's. I think she was not opening rooms these days. She was in her inner exploration with me privately because she comes to my wellness club every day morning, right?
Hmm.
We kind of talk about things, simple things like, you know, she moved from New Orleans to Vancouver, I think, Canada. She had to leave or something, and then she felt she was separated from her family, and then she was suffering. Then I told her, if the entire world is our family, why do you have to feel like we're separated from our immediate? Because we are desirous of that bondages or entanglements or attachments as a limited family, versus really opening our heart to everybody, then you don't have anything to miss about, you know.
Right.
That insight helped her, and then she immediately out of that suffering right away, you know.
Yeah,
That
yeah, it's that awareness, like any
yeah,
kind of like deeper awareness
yeah,
of the truth is always going to help you move out of
yeah,
that suffering. Because the
exactly,
truth, there is no
exactly,
suffering in the truth. Like,
yeah,
yes, there can still be experiences of loss and pain and other things like that, but that helps us move even closer to a deeper awareness of truth.
yeah. I was talking about this optimal happiness for a human being. It seems there are seven different optimal happinesses that we can raise up to. The first being sensory pleasure, which is okay, but it's momentary, fleeting, and all the addictive.
Yes, yes.
And then it goes all the way to transcendental joy, which we talk about when you are really know and understand and establish ourselves in the Tao or the Brahman.
You're right. Yes. Yeah.
That's
And
top one. Is it? What I was talking to somebody is, they said, oh, we have to see that everybody is happy and pleased and all that. That is like playing to the crowd.
yes.
Why do you have to have a name of wisdom when you're doing that kind of thing in this? The activity should be information giving insights that are taken and implemented in our life so that the suffering is relieved. At least
Mhm.
I think so.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about with Alex a little bit ago, that idea of quietly going about your business.
Yeah, yeah,
Just you do what you do, and
yeah,
it's not about
yeah.
having to be seen to do it, or
Exactly.
even having um ideas of what that should look like in your
Yeah.
life.
Just to leave it. That's enough.
Yeah, right.
Just leave it in the movement, and that's enough. But they're asking me to play to the ground. I said I have no interest in that. I will say what I is the truth, and afterward you take it or leave it is up to you. I'm not forcing you to do
That's
anything.
right.
So
And I think that like Elon Musk to be on here, and Sonia doing what she's doing, and us doing what we're doing, I think that's like we are
yeah,
inspiring increasing numbers of people to not necessarily want to play to the crowd anymore.
yeah, exactly.
And if somebody leaves my talk and says I'm going to go get a degree so I can prove that I'm smart, like, you
That's
missed the
why.
point. That's what you have to do, but that's not what I'm saying. Like,
No, no, but because of this circumstance arose, I said that. Otherwise, usually it's about what I have to say to Martin today.
yes.
I want to exchange a couple of things. That's it.
That's great.
Beyond that, there's no intention of forcing anybody to believe anything, but intention of asking them to explore, investigate, find out for yourself. That is there. You know.
Yes, yes, always there. And
Yeah,
and that's what we want to always encourage each individual to do,
yeah,
is to explore their truth.
yeah,
Because ultimately, and one of the things that I've always come across is when somebody thinks that someone else's truth is not right. It's
yeah.
like, well, yes it is. It's
It's,
not yours.
Yes, that's it. They are at that level. That's it. Leave them alone, and
Yes.
they will come to around it when it is suitable for them.
Right.
No, last comment I want to make, Martin, before I take leave,
Yeah.
is what is that modernization of Tao or Brahman is what we are involved in, uh, and that is modernization in the sense of what is more important than modernizing for the sake of modernity. you know
Yes.
if you take it like consumerism, commercialism, and outward orientation or things orientation, that's not the modernization that we want. That has led to the almost the extinction of the planet.
Right.
What we want is internal awareness improvement so that we are doing stuff that can help not only the planet but everybody else too.
Right. And when we talk about modernization, you are modern.
Yes, yes, definitely.
So look inward
Yeah,
and find modernity
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Don't look outward and say, well, because the design has changed,
yeah,
I
yeah,
have to change the design, because then you're playing to the crowd.
yeah. Don't do that. Speak truth to yourself and go and find your inner truth, and that is blissful itself. That is the
Yeah.
major thing people may say is they think if I do more stuff outside or more clients, more people coming in and all that, then you are missing the point.
Yes, yes.
But you can only tell them. You cannot really describe that because then it is not what you are experiencing,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
I think that modernization term we're going to use more often and really bring them to what is modern means is this what is activity that we have done is you see we can have things like what recyclable is an example. We can use things but also with awareness. We can reutilize them with awareness, but you have to have that consistent awareness of the waste and then also the thing that it can be pretty bad for everybody, environment and everything, right? Now we are suffering, all of us suffering because people were unaware of what they are doing with the consumerism.
Yes. Yeah.
Rampant consumerism and unthinking, unaware of consumerism. Why can't everybody be aware of limit the plastic use?
Right.
All
Yeah.
the simple things, right? So modernity is, I would say, one word: awareness.
Yes. Because you are here. You are
Yeah,
modern. Like your awareness will be modern when it is engaged.
yeah,
And there was a time where modernity meant you know
having,
individually used plastic
yeah,
wrapped everything,
yeah.
and that didn't help.
That it has. I know the technology also. It has to be a way of really making you not to do so many stuff, so that you can sit down and find out yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't like these phones, and I use this technology, but that is helping the main activity, which is turning inward and finding ourselves who we are.
Right. And continuing to expand our connection and consciousness.
Yes, yes, you are there already. Just take away the layers that are covering it up, and then you,
Right. Not trusting that this is the answer. You
yeah,
are the answer.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
informing the answer.
Bye now, bye, Martin.
Thank you. We're bringing Catherine on. Get back to reading some Tao. She's going to give me a number before I even say hello. Catherine? Uh-oh, Catherine left. Or did she get bumped down? Sometimes there's glitches. Still a young system, so we gotta be patient. I'm gonna wait around just a little bit and see if Catherine jumps back in. If anybody else has a number between 1 and 81 you wanna send out my way, I would love to I would love to get you guys on and reading and read the Tao with you. So yeah, if you guys have a number between 1 and 81, we are doing Tao of the day. I did have Alex come on. We read number 7, and then Dr. Rao came on, and we did our chatting as we will do. Okay, so if nobody's gonna chime in, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm being called to call number 50. And just to keep the ball rolling, see if anybody wants to come on. And I'm doing 50 from the Hogan um, translation. And so here we go. It says, people who look for the secret of long life wind up dead. Their bodies are the focus of their lives and the source of their death. Because they think a healthy body is all there is to life. No, that's the end of the sentence. Because they think the body is all there is to life. Lao Tzu used to say, a man who truly understood life could walk through the jungle without fear, or across a battlefield without armor, totally unarmed. Wild animals and weapons couldn't kill him. I know, I know. What the hell does that mean? Well, he couldn't be killed, Lao Tzu said, because his body wasn't where he kept his death. What? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm just gonna say, pretty good. I love the way that ends. Well, he couldn't be killed, Lao Tzu said, because his body wasn't where he kept his death. Wow, that's pretty profound. Okay, so people who look for the secret of long life wind up dead. That is, like we have so many people looking for the secret of long life right now, right? And it's all in the body. It's about like let's dive into the body and find out the thing that ages you. Let's get rid of that so we don't have to get aged, right? And or aged, and then we could do all of these things to cheat death. people who look for the secret of long life wind up dead. You're living right now. And if you're looking to extend and expand upon the years of your life right now, how much time are you spending investing in something that you might not have a future? What about now? What about that moment right now? It goes on to say, their bodies are the focus of their lives and the source of their death, because they think a healthy body is all there is to life. Such a nice understanding of things, right? Their bodies are the focus of their lives and the source of their death, because they think a healthy body is all there is to life. There's so much more to life, and that so much more is this moment, and now this moment. And are you aware of what's going on this moment? That's what, like, life is all of this consciousness, right? Life is all of this, and it has nothing to do really with your body. It's about your consciousness, because your body is only a very small part of you. It's only a part that's going to exist for a blink of an eye. And you are your consciousness. You are connected to me and connected to everybody, not just through this app, but through our mutual energy, right? Through consciousness, we are connected. I know that, being an energy healer, I know that very well. I understand the whole of connecting with somebody energetically, because it's so palpable. I was telling someone yesterday about, like, they were told throughout their lives, oh, you have to visualize the chakras. And I was talking about, no, you feel it. There's no reason to visualize it, because you can feel it. Visualizing is like, imagine you can see. No, 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 you can feel. It's real. You don't have to imagine anything. It is here, and it has nothing to do with your body. It is real. And you are real, and you are a lot deeper than just your body, and you're a lot more than just your body. When you look at your body and you say, this is what I am, this is what my life is, you invest all your life into this body. Their bodies are the focus of their lives and the source of their death, because they think a healthy body is all there is to life. It's the source of your death, your body. It is the thing that dies, but the only way that that is the thing that dies is if a healthy body is all there is to life. And it's not, because you and the energy that you carry and the energy that you transmit and absorb and receive, like, all of that is part of life. All of that is part of you living right now. I love, their bodies are the focus of their lives and the source of their death. When you can get outside of your body and understand that the source of your life, right? The center of your life is not your body at all. The center of your life is not your body at all. It is your consciousness. And here we say, Lao Tzu used to say, a man who truly understands life could walk through the jungle without fear or across a battlefield without armor, totally unarmed. Wild animals and weapons couldn't kill him. So that's a little brief story, right? That he's saying, okay, Lao Tzu used to say this thing, and this thing that doesn't make any sense in our minds, right? It doesn't make any sense to us that this is possible. How could you be in, like, in the presence of wild animals, or in the presence of war, and not be injured? And then the last verse, I know. Well, what the hell does that mean? Well, he couldn't be killed, Lao Tzu said, because his body wasn't where he kept his death. Whoa. His body wasn't where he kept his death. The Tao also talks a lot. There are a number of verses. There are a number of verses in the Tao that talk about, Graciela, thank you so much. There are a number of verses in the Tao that talk about this idea of dying and perishing, and how we die every day. Like we die, if we can allow our identity to die, then we die to a new person every day. We die to be a new person every day. If your identity is clinging on to something, if your identity is clinging on to your wealth, if your identity is clinging on to your job, if your identity is clinging on to your sexuality, if your identity is clinging on to anything, that thing is holding a lot of power, just like if your identity is clinging on to your body. But this last line is such a beautiful line because his body wasn't where he kept his death. Your body can very well be harmed. Your body can very well be mauled and you can die, but you will not die. You, as you are, yes, your body may, but you don't keep your death in your body. You don't keep everything in your body. You keep yourself centered on the Tao. You keep yourself centered on who you are. You keep yourself centered on what is truth. And by doing that, by being centered in what is truth, you are able to be present to the whole and to the truth of what you are. You don't have to just say, well, my body is this hugely important thing, because it's not. You are this hugely important thing. You are whole. You are full at this moment. And by being full at this moment, you can allow those identities, those things that aren't full, to be to pass away, to die. You don't need it. Just like we don't need our bodies. Like our bodies are here for us to get around and have physical experiences, and that's all great. But the truth is behind all of that. The truth is that, like we are going to live long lives. Our consciousness is alive and will go on forever. Now, that doesn't mean that our memories will come with us, but our consciousness, our memories can get stuck in our brains, but the consciousness of what we're learning and what we're spreading and what we're doing, through the Tao, through Brahman, through your practice, through living, that is what we get to experience. And that's not locked up in our bodies. It's not locked up in our bodies at all. So that was 50. What a beautiful 50 too. I'm really glad I read this translation because I'm intrigued as to what the Mitchell translation is, because I don't know what the hell, like where he came up with that translation. But it was such a beautiful one. Okay, so the Mitchell translation, if you guys are interested, reads, "The master gives himself up to whatever the moment brings. He knows that he's going to die and has nothing left to hold on to, no illusion in his mind, no resistance in his body. He doesn't think about his actions, they flow from the core of his being. He holds nothing back from life, therefore, he is ready for death, as a man is ready for sleep after a good day's work." Okay, that's beautiful. Again, wonderful, beautiful translation. I do like the different approach that Hogan uses that brings in this idea of like, hey, Lao Tzu says this thing, and man, it's crazy, but check it out. He's like, hey, I understand that Lao Tzu said, like you can be on a battlefield without armor and without weapons and never get hurt. And the thing is yes, you may live your life and get hurt, but you won't get hurt. Right? You may get hurt in your mind, you may get hurt in your body, you may get hurt in your physical aspects, but you are greater than that. And you will survive that. You will survive that. Your body may not survive that. Your ego may not survive that, but you will survive that. And that's the thing that this is saying. And what a wonderful way of kind of approaching that. It's funny. I had a dream last night of somebody. And in that dream, I had to stand up and say, I'm done. It was really interesting. It was a dream that I was just kind of like, I stood up and I was like, I'm done, like, being abused by this thing. I'm done being under the cosh of this thing, of this person or whatever it was. I'm not giving it up. So it was beautiful, and this relates so much to that. It's like, yes, I can let that part of me die because that's not me. That's not who I am. Okay, that was 50. Went through 50, went through 7 today. Does anybody want to step up? I always ask you guys. So, this is Tao of the Day. In Tao of the Day, we read the Tao Te Ching, and there are 81 verses of the Tao Te Ching. And I'm inviting anybody up that wants to step up and pick a number between 1 and 81. We'll go through that chapter once, and then we'll go through it line by line, and we'll talk about the depth that has maybe in your life right now, maybe if it has anything to do with things that you're going through right now, or if it doesn't make any sense at all for you. Maria is going to join me. Maria's new for me. I've I've never met Maria, so I'm really excited. It's always nice to meet new people. Maria, how you doing?
Good. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Yeah, it's my first time coming up here, but I'm getting more familiar with the app and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's a cool app. I see you've done some talks, and I haven't seen you around, so I'm looking forward to connecting and exploring what it is you're offering.
Yeah, so I just say a number to you and you read that
Yeah,
that page.
so
Okay.
give me a number between 1 and 81, and then I will read you the Tao, and we'll go through it together.
All right, let's do 59.
59. Okay, so have you listened to Tao of the Day before?
I usually have my kids and I'm taking my son to school in the morning, so on and off. Um
Okay.
but they're on
So,
spring break, so
and I mentioned that just because I'm going to repeat something that I say often, and if you know this, then we'll just skip through it. But what this starts with is for governing a country well. So we're talking about governing a country, but when we talk about governing anything, it could be for governing a body, or for governing a family, or for
Mm,
governing your community, or whatever. Even on here, right? Like, how do we interact here in our community? So this is going to address like country, but I want you to be able to take that as big and as small as it needs to in your life today.
got it. I appreciate it.
Okay, so for governing a country well, there is nothing better than moderation. The mark of a moderate man is freedom from his own ideas, tolerant like the sky, all pervading like sunlight, firm like a mountain, supple like a tree in the wind. He has no destination in view and makes use of anything life happens to bring his way. Nothing is impossible for him because he has let go. Nope. Nothing is impossible for him. Because he has let go, he can care for people's wellness as a mother cares for her child. That is 59. Thoughts?
Yeah, it's exactly what I needed to hear today, so thank you.
Oh, that's so often the case. Like,
Yes,
I can't, I
I'm
can't tell
I'm in
you.
the
Yeah.
middle of like motherhood. I have a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old, and today I'm starting a life coach training program. And so
Mm,
the letting go piece was just like, yes, just let go and everything will work itself out. We'll get it all figured out. And so that just kind of really hit deep with me today. So that's
mm.
cool.
Well, that's great. I'm really glad to hear that. And so now we'll go through this line by line and see if there's other things, like little things that we can kind of tap into and start looking at. So um, it starts off, and I always like to look at the end and the beginning and see if there is a connection, because sometimes when you start in this place, and then at the end there's no connection between the two, or seemingly. And so, like, I
Right.
want to look at this last line again. Nothing is impossible for him because he has let go. He can care for the because he see there's a comma here, and I keep pausing at it,
Mm.
but I don't think it should be there. Nothing is impossible for him because he has let go. He can care for the people's welfare as a mother cares for her child. So, okay, so that is where we end. But that first line is, for governing a country well, there is nothing better than moderation. How do you relate those two together?
For me personally, I'm thinking of governing like my family unit. And
Hmm.
sometimes we try to cram in so much because we think it's what's best for our kids, for example. I'm a highly sensitive person, and so the moderation for me is I can hear him in the background.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Um, oh, salud. The moderation for me is more like following their natural rhythms and understanding what they need versus what I need. So kind of taking everybody's needs in and not trying to push too much. So,
Not trying to push what too much.
like the social expectations of just a really clear example is, now that things are opening back up, that we should have our kids signed up for baseball and dance and this and that. And
Hmm.
it just doesn't feel good. And so understanding that we don't have to follow all the things that were thrown at us as parents, for example, following our intuition and the things that we need for our families. And that's how we govern our little family unit. So,
Yeah. Pardon me. I love that because here at the bottom, as we start to talk about like moderation, because he has let go, he can care for the people's welfare. This to me kind of reads, as you're speaking, letting go of those expectations, letting go of what you think would be best for your ego as it relates to those onlookers. Letting go of, like you said, the expectation of getting them back into dance and baseball and all of these things. But it's like you're you're caring for the welfare of the people. You're caring for the welfare of your family, not your not what the expectations are of other people and how you're going to look to them.
exactly. And I think that gets really muddled in society these days.
Yeah.
The the judgments that can come from parenting, or just like our own childhood trauma and how we end up
Hmm.
parenting and having to break all those cycles, and there's a lot happening all at once. So I have that feeling of, when I heard the words let go, I was like, oh, that's right. When I let go, then I can fully tap into that part of myself that I know is the right thing for us.
Is truth.
Yes, truth.
Yeah, that's the thing. And we move into this next line right after the governing country well, there's nothing better than moderation. The mark of a moderate man is freedom from his own ideas. Just like you're talking about, I think like your ideas deep inside of you like have all of the hang-ups, like, and this is for everybody. This isn't like something that somebody holds on to. You have
Right.
hang-up as to like what is expected of me as a mother, and how much is motherhood judged in our society. Like, if you're not doing this, you're a bad mom, you're the worst mom, you're this, if you can't, like, oh my god, like, what's going to happen to your child, and all of that is coming in from outside. But the mark of a moderate man, the mark of a moderate mother, let's say, is one who's like freed from her own ideas. Like, she can just be here present for what is, rather than having those ideas like that are deeply embedded because of our culture, deeply embedded because of our past, deeply embedded because of our trauma.
Well, yes, yeah, that really resonates as well.
Sometimes I just pause to see if
Yeah.
there's anything more you want to. But sometimes there's just nothing to say, right? Like, it's like, yeah, wow, like, so the mark
Hmm.
of a moderate man is freedom of his own ideas.
Yeah.
Tolerant like the sky, all pervading like the sunlight. How does that ring to you?
It's funny because I was honestly just doing some work on, because I'm starting that life coach program today, and I was, trying to ground myself, and it was all about how good I feel when I feel the sunlight on my face. When
Mm,
I watch the sunrise, and I'm just like deeply connected to that part of myself. And but the part where it says tolerant like the sky, is that correct?
yeah,
Yeah, I've never thought of the sky as tolerant, but now I'm like, wow, the sky is really tolerant.
yeah. I was talking to someone on here a while back, John LaCase, and we were talking about like birds in the sky. The sky will receive, the sky is like the ultimate feminine. It will receive an airplane, it will receive clouds, it'll receive rain, it'll receive birds, it'll receive balloons, it'll receive whatever you put in it. It is absolutely tolerant. It's a yes, give it to me. At night you have filled with stars and satellites and whatever. That's all there, tolerant like the sky. And that's what he's saying a moderate man is. That's like a moderate person, someone who can just allow that deep feminine, allow that deep receivership, that yielding. I will allow, you know, I'm not going to get caught up in the hard rules of right and wrong. I'm going to be here present and tolerant to what is, tolerant to my child, tolerant to their needs, tolerant to the whole community of the family, but then also all pervading like the sunlight, right? The sun on your face. The sun is going to shine on you just as much as it's going to shine on Putin.
Right.
And it's not going to make a judgment. And like when we start to build a hierarchy in our lives of this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad, this is this, this is that. Once we start to label all those things, we start to separate ourselves from the truth, being less tolerant and unable to touch everything, right? All pervasive like the sun is because the sun doesn't judge one from the other. Firm like a mountain, supple like a tree in the wind, right? Like this is a paradox, right? Both of them, right? You're firm and yet you're able to sway, bend, not break.
Yeah, that word paradox came to mind when I heard that the first time. It's that duality of, for me, what it means to be a mother, like setting the limits and boundaries, but in a loving and kind way. Really understanding that paradox that exists. Yeah, in
Oh,
everything
I
that we
love
do.
that. I love that. Just brings such a smile on my face to hear.
He likes to
Oh,
join in randomly, so
that's
yeah.
okay. That's okay. He's got like he knows the truth more than we
I
do,
know, it's
probably.
ridiculous. I'm like, seriously, I have to be 2 years old.
You're right. Like, and that's the thing. Like, you are so in touch with the truth, and then you've lost it. Now it's all about like discovering it again, and it's fun, and as it should be. So this next set of lines says he has no destination in view and makes use of anything life happens to bring his way. When I hear that, I think of like, I mean, you're a parent, and if you had goals for your children, you'd be so closed off to so many opportunities that your children would see because it wouldn't logically make sense to go in route A if your destination is C. But
Yeah.
like as we live our lives, we find that many of the choices we make are magically divine and brought us in the exact place we needed to go.
I mean, yeah, from a parenting perspective, I think about this often, and the path that I chose to take in my own, career, personal life, and having to say, nope, that wasn't really my path, and having to make the changes, and just understanding that that was part of it. Um, there's a certain like magical feel to it for sure, which is why I hopped on here today. Because when I heard, I was listening to the talk, I was like, oh, today feels like a magical moment. So let me just hop on there. Um, but I think it definitely, when you're a parent, it becomes very, you have to fight against the grain a lot to not get in your own way and not get in the way of your children, and just like follow them instead of leading them, or, stand next to
Yes.
them as you're walking together.
The Tao talks about this as well. It says leading from behind.
Yeah.
Like you're not pushing them. You're not telling them where to go. You're watching them and guiding, and that's why you're ahead. You're ahead because you stay behind.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And then we finish this one off with nothing is impossible for him because he has let go. He can care for the people's welfare as a mother cares for her child. And I think the way that you care for your child is, you know, is what this is remarking upon.
Yeah, it also kind of reminds me of, those moments when you just feel so deeply connected to like Mother Earth or just, whatever higher being or thing you believe in,
Yeah,
and how nurturing it feels. And I think you are the, finding and guiding your own path in your own way when you're feeling that nurturing towards yourself. And I find it very challenging to feel that way towards my children if I'm not being nurturing towards myself first.
absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that. And, you know, like this idea that nothing is impossible because you
Hmm.
have let go. It's like you can achieve whatever you want if you don't have the labels on the things that you are, present with. Like all of those labels create barriers and limitations.
And I think that's what I needed to hear today because I'm starting this new program and I'm trying to put labels on things. So thank you for having me up here. It was very nice
Absolutely.
talking with you.
Y podemos hablar en español
Oh, qué
una
bien,
vez. Entonces,
gracias.
me encanta hablar contigo. Um, so thank you guys. Thank you so much for coming on. If anybody has a number between 1 and 81, you want to join me, Maria. That was wonderful to talk with you, and yeah, anybody, Graciela, Maria, Daz, like always open to having Spanish conversation here on Wisdom because I don't hear enough of it. So I would love to. Oh, we got Energy Lady and Graciela was just in before you. So we're going to bring in Graciela and then Energy Lady.
Buenos días, Martin John.
Ah, buenos días. ¿Qué tal?
¿Cómo estás?
Estoy bien. Pero... yes, how are you today?
I'm
I'm
exhausted.
not going to, like, I gotta tell you, 9 p.m. any time zone is too late for me.
Oh, yeah.
Like I am an early sleeper. I
Uh-huh.
am not.
Oh,
I heard that and I was like, oh, I would love to, but that is bedtime. Like fuck. But
oh,
I
yeah.
did enjoy your reading. And I love that like you read and you interject and you talk about things and you get excited, and I think that's really beautiful. So everybody definitely follow Graciela. She's reading, and
Oh,
I don't know the title of the book that you're reading. If you would.
we're reading What Happened to You by Bruce D. Perry and Oprah Winfrey.
Ah, see, so there it is.
And it
Yeah,
is
so that's made.
amazing.
Yeah, you had just read chapter 2 yesterday, so still in the
Correct.
beginning. Go
That's
back and
right.
listen to the recordings,
Hmm.
and yeah. So
And
without
that's
further
been
ado,
wonderful. And I'm tired because I'm also an early sleeper like you. I usually put the phone down around 10:30 and then I
wow,
unwind by 11:30. I'm already like ready for sleep. And then I sleep, all the way until 7 a.m. But to go to bed at 1:30, oof, we are
yeah,
so not
yeah.
getting any
No.
younger over here.
So just so you can recognize how much of an old man I am, and Energy Later, if you're listening, like this is like I got your message this morning because my phone goes on airplane mode at 8 p.m. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
good for you.
I am usually well asleep by 9. Like
Mm,
like I am
good for you.
not
That's so
not
good.
not always, but that is my that's my MO. And I wake up,
Yeah.
well, I wake up between 3 and 4 and
Oh,
meditate.
well, that's why then.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why. I
Yeah.
don't wake up until about 6:40, 6:30.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so
I mean, we're still
my
on the
my
same.
limit is midnight.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
I go to sleep any later than that, the next day I struggle. Like today, I'm struggling mentally, right? Because I didn't
yeah.
sleep that much. And I'm going to see my intuitive coach later, and she's going to be like, "Are you okay? You look a little
Right.
depleted."
So,
But
so yeah, like let's see if we can get a Tao that can help you
yes.
increase
And I
that.
just want to say, Maria, I followed you on Instagram and I'm so excited to hear about your certification. Congratulations on that brand new journey for you. And I'm also the mom of a toddler, so let's connect. Okay, let's do what number? Let me think. 27. Oof, that one just came out. And maybe I asked for it before. Huh.
Well, it doesn't
Maybe.
matter. There's always something to get.
Well, it
A
does
good
matter. I don't like to
traveler,
repeat number. Uh-huh.
yeah, a good traveler has no fixed plans and is not
Mm,
intent upon arriving. A
mm,
good artist lets
that's
his
right.
intuition
Hmm.
lead him wherever it wants.
Yep, a
A
good
good
teacher.
a good scientist
Oh, scientist,
has
yes.
has so we have read this one.
Yes, we have.
What I'm
I
going to do
remember
is
asking.
I'm going to read it
The
the
other
first way.
translation.
Yeah. With
Let's do
enough
it.
practice, you could walk without leaving any footprints.
Oof.
Speak
Okay.
without stumbling over your words. Do complicated math problems in your head.
Mm,
You could build a door with no lock that nobody could open. You could
mm,
tie something down with no knots without even a rope, and nobody
yes.
could get it loose. Masters have time to help everybody and ignores
Mm,
nobody. They use their resources wisely, wasting nothing. Some people call this following the light.
mm,
Good people teach others who have the potential to be good. Brains count for nothing if you fail to respect your teachers or to honor the potential in others.
mm.
That's one of the most important lessons of the Tao.
Oh, I love that. I feel like that's my coach talking to me directly because, oh, there's so much magic in that translation. Look at that door that nobody can open, nor doorknobs. I mean, that's powerful.
Yeah.
And walking without any footprints, being that stealthy and moving in silence and oof, I love this translation and I'm so happy that I brought this number. You know, that's my son's birthday.
Mm.
And I just it just kept coming up 27. So clearly I needed to hear
So
this other
there's
translation.
there's more here. So yeah, so let's look at this with enough. So we start this whole thing with enough practice.
Hmm.
That's everything here starts. This whole first part, it's about the tying of the knot, the math problems, the walking, the speaking, the all of this starts with enough practice. You could walk without leaving any footprints, speak without stumbling over your words, do complicated math problems in your head.
Right.
You could build a door with no lock that nobody could open. You
Mm,
could tie something down with no knots, without even a
right.
rope, and
Yes.
nothing could get it loose.
That's magic, my friend. Oh, that's so powerful. It's like I can hear her in my head asking if I did the homework before I meet with her.
Yeah.
Asking if I practiced what I needed to practice before meeting with her. But oh, it's so beautiful, Martin John.
So I'm holding. I'm kind of like setting a holding pattern on this beginning because like there's a lot here, right? Like with enough practice, you could do these things. But what are the things that we want to do?
Right.
Because like I don't know that any of us are trying to tie something down with no rope or no knots that nobody can get loose. I mean, maybe that has to do with us, like in relationship.
Right.
Maybe like what does it mean to do complicated math problems in our head? I don't know, but
Mm,
it is about overcoming. It's about this thing that we say we can't do that, but
right.
with enough practice we can. And so many of us in this modern world get into this place of like, well, how did you do that? Well, I
Hmm. Hmm.
practiced. Well, I can't
That's right.
imagine how anybody would do. Well, I practiced. And what is it to practice being yourself?
Hmm. Are you asking me?
Yeah, well, I'm just
Oh,
it's a question, I suppose. I don't know.
well, I mean, listen, the word practice is huge in coaching. You already know this.
Hmm.
Especially, let's take for example the nonprofit and my specific work with them, right? Because when I coach one on one, yes, confidence is one of the pillars, but I don't base my coaching on all of the confidence, right? Like confidence is just something that's added to my packages. But when I'm focused on the survivors in the nonprofit group that I host, we talk a lot of confidence. And with confidence comes the element of practice. It's like you don't feel confident today. Well, then you need to practice what being confident looks like and what it feels like and what would a confident person do. Let me do this today. And so the element of practice is huge. When you're coaching someone else, we have to let them know that practice is real and that practice is normal and that it's expected. Of course, if we're in a relationship and we're under a contract, I will expect you to do your part, just like Sally expects me to do my homework, right? And
Hmm.
so it's huge to bring this up today. Well, really any day, because as you know, I take the Tao with me, and I can already see how it's showing up. Um, if Maria, is it Maria? Oh, not, yeah, it
Yeah.
is Maria Plata. If she's still listening, I practice what it's like to be a good mom every day. I don't know what that
Right.
looks like. and and I practice what it's like to communicate with my son because he's bilingual and his language is still all over the place, and it's like it's a real intuitive thing to communicate with him in his uh, quasi 3-year-old language. And so it just really touches deeply, and it's a great reminder for me as well to just remember that everything I'm doing is worth the practice. um, Everything I'm doing to help others is definitely worth my time and attention, I feel like. And it's only getting, not getting, I don't like that word. I like receiving better, but it's only just bringing me further along this practice, this everyday thing. And math and I go way back
Hmm.
because I hated math growing up. And in my 20s, I did math all day as a card dealer in a casino dealing blackjack, roulette, and all of these card games, table games that demand for you to do math constantly. And all of a sudden, with practice, I
Yeah.
was good at math.
Right. And it's
And
crazy how that happens. Like
mhm,
how much of our day do we spend practicing? I think the thing is when we go out of our way and practice, an hour a day or 15 minutes a day. That's great.
right,
But are our lives practice? Because I
yeah,
always like to look at our lives as just, all we're like everything you do, every conversation you have, every choice you make is practice. It's practice on
mhm,
being who you're going to be tomorrow.
correct. Yes, I agree. And
You
if
know,
you're taking any kind of action, if you're actively taking small, imperfect steps towards what you are looking to achieve, you're not stalled, you're practicing, you're
that's right.
moving, and it
Everything
counts.
is practice.
Yes, and every effort counts, which is another reminder that I love to extend to others. And I have to remind myself too. It's like every single one of my efforts counts. And it's just, as long as we don't give up, right? As long as we don't just drop the arms and then drop everything or flip the table, right? As long as we're not doing that, we are practicing and getting better every day. I have
And
no
I think
doubt.
that brings us to this next line: with masters have time for everyone and ignores nobody. They use their resources wisely, wasting nothing.
Mm,
Some people call this following the light. And I think when you flip the table, when you push people away, when you say I don't have enough
mhm,
time for this, like all of
mhm,
that is you
mhm.
not practicing, right? That is you,
Right,
like it's not about you relieving yourselves of all boundaries. That's not what
right,
what this is saying. But this is
right.
saying that, like, in your work, when it is aligned, everyone will be helped and no
Mm,
one will be ignored. Versus
interesting.
when you just capitulate to other people's desires, well, then everybody is ignored and nobody's helped.
Right, right. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're speaking my language, my friend, because it is so true. And I mean, I don't think I would ever call myself a master of anything unless I graduated into some kind of certain master certification and put in the hours to get that title, right? But she did warn me, you're going to get busier. 2 weeks ago, she said to me, you are going to get busier because it's just the way it's going to happen for you. And I remember telling her, Sally, I cannot get any busier. And she looked at me and said, well, then you need to time manage better. and you need to divide your time more efficiently. And I was like, what? Even more than I already am? And so to be able to reach out to others in the way that I'm doing, it's just really reassuring, I feel like, and very validating, to get this translation today. I feel like it puts me in the right mindset for just the rest of my day. And if I felt like I was too busy, it's definitely an inspiration to just keep going, even though I am a little busy. Just a little bit, just a tiny little busy, right? Spending
Yeah.
time on wisdom at 1:30 in the morning. Woo!
Right. Yeah.
We're not doing that again.
And yeah, and then this wraps up really beautifully where it's like, and I think this relates as well, good people teach others who have the potential to be good. Brains count for nothing if you fail to respect your teachers or to honor the potential in others.
Mm,
That's one of the
yes.
most important lessons in the Tao. Like, and
Mm,
that's the thing, like understanding that like your intelligence, your ability to, you know, like like I look at like your ability to manage time, like, yeah, okay, maybe you need a better time management, but you need a better connection to knowing, right? Like, so that, because it's like there are only so many hours in the day, and a lot of people do like to talk about like busy, 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 but busy is actually bad. Like, if
right,
you're busy,
right,
you are fucking up somewhere, right? Like, the whole
right.
point isn't that you're busy, but it's that you're you, and being you um, is not something that you can be busy doing.
Mm. Oh, I love that. Yes, thank you. That's another great reminder. Thank you so much, Martin, because it takes me to, yes, we'll go outside in a minute. Hang on. It's he's saying afuera,
I see.
afuera,
Yeah.
afuera. It's the word of the day every single day. Um it's also very reassuring, Martin. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. We'll talk more on the
Yes.
messenger.
Love you. We'll
Bye.
be talking soon.
Love
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye.
Okay, now we're bringing on Energy Lady, someone I haven't spoken with in a minute, and I'm really excited to have her on. Thank you so much for your patience, dude. Um,
Well, good
Good
morning.
morning. Got your message early this morning, and I miss our conversations as well.
Well, thank you. And the reason I texted you when I did is because I saw you on the app, and I'm like, "Hey, I haven't seen him, and I talked to him in a minute."
Yes.
And that's when I sent it.
My app is on my iPad, which is not my phone. My phone is, and my iPad, and I'm an Android user, so none of that is connected.
No, I kind of put all that
Yeah,
together when you were talking. I'm like, "That's right. He does wisdom on his
yeah,
iPad." Okay, that makes
yeah. I
sense.
should have I should have
I
turned
didn't
it
know
off
you were
as
an
well, but
Android person.
I'm here in Virginia, so suckers always make mistakes when they're far away from home.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
funny. You're so funny. They're hilarious, and the timing is perfect. So I wasn't really waiting. I was listening because her number was, I mean, just what she was hearing and the different translation really helped me out a lot too. So it's called that getting ready to be ready for Martin
That's right.
John.
Get on
It
board.
has nothing to do with the Tao. It's only Martin John.
It's a vehicle for me to be. It's a wonderful opportunity.
I know. I know how much you love having that title, so I had to give it to you. Sorry. Just funny. All right, I'm going to take 17 today.
17. Moving on. Okay. When the Masters takes charge, hardly anybody notices. The next best is the leader who is obeyed out of love. After that, there is the leader who is obeyed out of fear. The worst is the leader who is
Mm,
hated. And I know we had this on another translation, but trust and respect people. That's how you earn and trust their trust and respect. The masters don't give orders, they work with everybody else. When the job's done, people are amazed at what they accomplished. I think this is such a beautiful one for you and your work specifically. I think
mm-hmm.
always coming back to it is like, the fact, because I think we might have read this a couple times together.
No, I've never read this before.
Never. I because this
Nope.
one like resonates so strongly.
Right. No, it resonates, but it wasn't ever you and I, so
Wow,
I love
that's
it.
awesome. Okay, so I'm going to read this again because I think I broke it up, unfortunately. There,
Go for
when
it.
the masters take charge, hardly anybody notices. The next best is the leader who is obeyed out of love. After that, there is the leader who is obeyed out of fear. The worst is the leader who is hated. Trust and respect people. That's how you can earn their trust and respect. The masters don't give orders, they work with everybody else. When the job is done, the people are amazed at what they accomplished.
I wish I could share with you what is going through me to the degree that it is, but I will share what I
Yeah.
can. When it was, well, I'm glad you read it again because it took away one thing. I don't remember what it was, but one part of it didn't feel good. But I can't remember because it's okay now. Is the thing that my brain, and it was funny because I was talking to somebody, my brain and my heart were having an argument, and I say that gently
Yeah.
for fun. Um, because my brain has been, as you know, I've been imprinted. There's a lot of things going on, but my heart knows what it wants. So I'm following my heart, but my brain's trying to take me
Right.
back. Kind of fun. Um, and so when I heard that, one of the things that I have been, I'm going to say, doubting myself on is the, I've been told pretty much all my life I'm a natural born leader. Okay. And I don't know what that means, but I'll just take it. So when you read that, I went, that's part of it because most leaders that I have personally run into want to tell me what to do or tell people what to do and how to do it and how to think. And I was talking to a client just the other night and I told her, and she's a good friend, and I said, I get it. I'm getting it. And she says, what? I said, I see the uniqueness that I actually offer. And she's like, all right, because she knows it, right? I said, I'm a safe place to be for people to be who they are in the moment so we can empower them and have them connect to who they are. She goes, you got it. And I went, wow. And that's a leader. It's a person who doesn't judge, but allows people to be who they are. A master is a person who's okay, and that's what I consider you, okay with what is. I think about you and how you resonate in calmness. It doesn't matter what you do every single minute, okay? Just what you portray for
Yeah.
me is a sense of calmness, and it's a detachment I never understood, but I have been learning for
Yeah.
years. Because to me, detachment is discounting. That's what I was taught. And detachment is pure of heart.
I think everything has its light and its dark. You know?
Yeah. And well, I was taught the dark.
Yeah. Yeah. You were.
You better care about me before you care about you. I shared this story with a friend of mine the other day, and I'm going to share it. Is, because, our leaders in the beginning are our siblings and our,
Right.
parents. And I was sharing the story, didn't even think about it until I was in the presence of somebody who went, what? And when I was under the age of 7, so it must have been 6 years old, we used to have, the ice cream truck comes around, right? And I have 2 older sisters, and the ice cream truck came out, and we all ran, and there was we had this big step down that you jump onto stones and you run, right? Well, I fell.
Mm-hmm.
I was 5, 6
Yeah.
years old, right? My mother, my leader in the moment, and I say that lightly, told my sisters right there, saying, well, considering she fell and hurt herself, you're not going to get to have ice cream anymore.
Oh, wow.
And I never thought of the magnitude of that until I come into the presence of people who are non-judgmental and see the picture. Does that make
Yeah.
sense to
Yeah.
you?
Absolutely.
And that would be on this app. And I went, wait a minute. And she just sat there and she says, wait a minute. Do you realize how bad that is? I said, I didn't until this moment.
Right.
I knew it wasn't good because it stuck to my heart. And I went, that's the leadership I thought was real. So this is really cool because that's obviously what I've always pulled in. So it was really cool because what this is, and I'd love to break it
Yeah.
down
We're
a little
going
bit
to.
more
Yeah.
before I just continue to talk it down. But what I'm going to say is I really want to hear this in my heart because I think it's so natural for me. My mind's telling me I can't have it. So let's go.
Yeah. When the master takes charge, hardly anyone notices. And
That's
yeah.
beautiful.
Because like now we're talking about the master. We're not talking about leaders. And when the master takes charge, that doesn't mean that he is controlling others. It just means,
Right. And I want to say this. I want to say this for myself and
yeah,
whatever, the universe, whatever, just saying that loud, is that the leaders that say they're leaders or masters are the ones who claim to have many of followers on this, the way we are
right.
today. And I've come to realize I'd rather have 5 people on my side. I'm good.
Yeah,
I'll have more, but you know what I'm
yeah,
saying. I know you
yeah.
do. So keep going. I just want to say this out loud for me because I think it's really going to change my life.
Yeah.
So go
The
for it.
next best is the leader who is obeyed out of love. After that, the one who is feared. The worst leader is the one who is hated. And the thing is that the thing that I want to focus on here is when the master
Yes.
takes charge. And there
Oh, go
is
for it.
no reason to take charge unless it's necessary. And so, you or I or anybody can be just sitting around and allowing everybody to do their thing. And then when shit hits the fan, we step up.
And you know what I thought about when you said that is it. We're not really. I'm going to say this. We're not really taking charge. We're still following the Tao within
Right.
us
Absolutely.
when we go to take charge. So there's no taking
Right.
charge. It just looks like we're
Right.
taking charge
And it doesn't
because
even look
everybody's
that
a
way,
participant.
because like nobody
Or
notices. It's just like it
right,
gets done.
and see, I've been being told that I need to be noticed,
Right.
and my thought is, I don't need to be noticed. I just want to create a community of like-hearted people.
Right. I don't have
And
to
they
be
say
at the helm of
no,
that.
but they say it's what. But I've been told it's one and the same. So this is really great that we're
Yeah.
breaking this down.
Yeah,
Go.
because we don't have to be at the helm of it. We like that's the thing. We start with master and then we break and then there's this like erosion of master to leader. Like this is a person
Oh,
who
love
leads,
it.
right? The master is just being themselves in that moment. The leader is trying to win hearts and win minds, and they get obeyed out of these three different ways, right? Love, fear, or
Yes.
hate.
Yes, and that's what. And I was telling a friend about leadership, and I said, when you're kindergarten and you become the leader, what does the teacher say? She says, follow her or follow him. Just do what they
Yeah.
do. I said, exactly. So the leader really isn't a leader. The leader's just doing what they're meant to
Right.
do.
And they were
And she went, oh, that's beautiful, which is what
and
you're
they
saying.
were given that by something else, right? That's like even when if you're going through a coaching program or whatever, it's like you got to give yourself permission to lead people or whatever. And it's like,
Oh,
whoa, whoa, whoa. If you're a
I love
master,
you.
you don't have to have that external thing at all.
I love you. Thank you.
Trust and respect people. That's how you earn their trust and respect. Like, how clear would you like it, right? Like, trust and respect people. That's how you earn their trust and respect. When you're leading people, you don't necessarily trust them because you're telling them things you think they need to know. You don't necessarily respect them because you're not listening to them, you're leading them.
And so my natural born leadership has nothing to do in people's thought process. It's not that. It's just Nancy, be you, and let's see what
That's
happens.
right. Yeah. And if by being
Because
you,
it's supposed to be, it's the journey. It's not the
and by
destination.
being you, you're able to offer love and respect and trust, and you can trust,
Without even
right,
trying.
without trying. If you have to try to trust somebody, you're not trusting them. If you have to try to respect somebody, you're not respecting them. Just
And let me put the caveat out there. If I have to try and trust somebody, that means I don't trust
That's right.
myself.
And if you have to try and respect
And that's
somebody,
what
you
I'm
don't
hearing.
respect yourself.
Right. This really has nothing to do with leadership. Who am I in the leader of? Who am I and if I take that out right now, the master is
That's
me.
right.
So it doesn't really matter if I lead.
Right. And if you notice you're leaving, if you notice you're leading yourself, then you have
Yes.
to ask yourself, am I the kind of leader who is loved, feared, or hated? Otherwise, you're being the master and you don't even know you're being.
That is amazing because what I was told, oh my God, I'm just going to say it. What I've been told is that people fear me because I am so open.
Yeah.
And I realize that that's not the truth. You just broke that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because it doesn't
Right. It
matter.
doesn't.
No, that just popped in my head. It doesn't matter because it just doesn't matter. I don't even have to say what it
Right.
does.
And then this last line is where we start this is the masters don't give orders. You are just
No, they
being.
give suggestions and change. Yeah, just visual so people can grab their own
Right.
stuff
They work with
whenever
everybody
they
else.
can.
They work with everybody and everything else.
And that's what I was accused of doing incorrectly. Nancy, you're just too open. You need to have your own people. And nope, that's why I want like-hearted people, my
That's right.
friend, not
That's
like-minded.
right. That's right. And when the job is
You know,
done,
and
the people are amazed at what they accomplished. And that's what we do when we live a day just by being ourselves. Like when we can let go of all of it and like at the end of the day we lay down and go, "Damn, I did a lot of shit today. I connected with a lot of people. I accomplished more than I could have ever imagined."
right. And how many people actually do that?
Right, because most people are too busy checking boxes, and you're like, "Oh, I got 4 of my check boxes checked today. Great, I feel accomplished." But then when you go to bed after having been yourself, there are fucking 15, 30 things that you accomplished that day. Just little things that you can't even remember because you didn't think about them. You just did them.
And you know, and that makes so much sense because the thing that I recognized yesterday is that I've been doing, people always tell you got to get out there and do it. And I'm thinking, do what?
Right,
The one thing that was missing, it was when I was journaling, the one thing that nobody had taught me or shown me or opened my mind to is having fun in every single moment and the way to that, a concept to that.
right,
And this is really cool because this is what I'm being asked to see now so that I will be offering that and being that every day, every time I
right.
walk
Yeah,
step.
you are the master. And
Right, I am
and
the
when you can
master and it
allow
doesn't matter.
that master to take charge, you'll hardly even know. You'll hardly even
And
notice.
that is what I've been asking for,
Yeah.
Martin John. That is what I've been asking for. So that is
You know,
beautiful.
and just like we were talking about earlier, there's a light and there's a dark. Like you can take charge, and if you know, that's the dark. But when you can take charge and you can allow that master to take charge and just be here present, you'll hardly think about it at all. And you might even ask, "Am I doing it right?"
And that's what I've been asking. You have no
Yeah,
idea. You do, but you
yeah.
don't. So absolutely love you, appreciate you very much.
Thank you so much. We're gonna bring Jose on, and we're gonna pick a number. Oh, what a good day! New people, old people. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Buddy, how you
I'm
doing?
doing well. I'm doing well. Doing some Tao of the Day. Been on for a minute now. I don't know how long. Hour and a half, maybe. So we're we're probably gonna be winding up soon. But I want to get your number in and see if we can chat a little bit about the Tao. How's your week going?
It's going amazing. I'm being blessed left and
I
right.
I
Thank
am
God.
grateful to hear that. Things can change quickly sometimes. You got a number for me?
Quickly. Yes, I do. 44.
44. All right, we're gonna go back to the Stephen Mitchell translation. Fame or integrity, which is more important? Money or happiness, which is more valuable? Success or failure, which is more destructive? If you look to others for fulfillment, you'll never be truly fulfilled. If your happiness depends upon money, you will never be happy with yourself. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you.
Wow. Man, those are powerful
They
words.
sure are. You know, like when
That's a
we look at
great
yeah, when
message.
we look at the bottom of this, right? When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. And we look at this first sextet, right? The first 3 sets of pairs. We have fame or integrity, money or happiness, success or failure. And when we kind of bring in this last line, the whole world belongs to you, the whole world is physical, the whole world is manifestation, right? Fame, money, and success are things that can come and go. They're fleeting, they're manifestation.
Exactly. And that's already happened to me many times. So
Right.
I strongly believe in that.
But when we look at this idea of when you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world outside of manifestation belongs for you. Because when what we do is we ask this question of like, which is more important, fame or integrity? Which is more valuable, money or happiness? Which is more destructive, success or failure?
Correct.
Like in all of those things, I think the obvious answer, I mean, we're reading the Tao. So, I mean, we're talking about integrity. We're talking about happiness, and we're talking about like failure and overcoming failure. Like failure is not a bad thing. Like failure helps us grow.
Yeah, it's just a part of life, helps us become stronger, become more aware of and acknowledge more things that are surrounding us and giving us, the message that we know we need to stay away from the negative and go towards the positive, because the more positive we are, the more positive people we attract.
Right. And then when we're positive in a, I mean, not toxic positivity, but when we're positive in our lives, we're able to embrace failure as an opportunity to grow. You know.
Exactly. I completely, man. That was a very good number
Yeah.
for me, I
And at
guess.
the end here,
Yeah,
right? Like when we look at this, like when you realize there is nothing lacking, your integrity, there's nothing lacking. Like there's no way to lack integrity. There's no way to lack happiness. And you can see anything as failure. You can see anything in your life, even if it's successful, you can grow from another aspect of it. Even if it's like, oh, success, success, success. Well, you know what? I would have liked to have written that better. Okay, well, then write it better next time and grow from that, learn from that. So there's always opportunities here. There is nothing lacking because the thing that is most important is integrity. The thing that is most valuable is happiness. And the thing that destroys growth is success. I say there are
yes,
times, there's a quote that I have, I can't quote it off the top of my head, but it's something to the effect of we uh, oh wait, what is it? We it's not that we should praise success or damn failure, but we should praise the continuing to grow after either. Whether you've been successful or whether you've failed, it's the continuing to move forward after either of those that deserves our attention.
absolutely. We got to be like clocks. We can't just stop. We got to
Yeah,
keep
we got to
going.
keep going. There is another hour to chime. There is another hour to chime. If you look to
Man,
others,
thank
if
you.
you look to others for fulfillment, you will never be truly fulfilled. If your
Exactly.
happiness depends on money, you will never be happy with yourself. How did those resonate with you this morning, Jose?
Honestly, I actually acknowledge that very much, because money is not what makes me happy. It's never been that money. It's always been about what I do with that money that makes me happy. If I'm able to change somebody's life or help them in some type of way, give them advice, guidance, help them in some sort of way with my success or my money, help them accomplish their goals, then that brings me self satisfaction.
Yeah. Yeah. And, even, and that's the thing. Like it doesn't require money to do that, and so you're not going to depend upon money to your happiness will never depend upon money. And you'll never look to others for fulfillment, because when you look outside of yourself for these things, they're finite. All of these things are finite, right? Like others are finite. And so if you look to others, and what others can do is finite, for you at least, is finite. And so if you look to others for fulfillment, you will never be truly fulfilled, because others will have a finite amount of resources to dedicate to you for your fulfillment. And if your happiness depends upon money, you will never be truly happy with yourself, because money is finite and there is never enough. Right? There's always the
Exactly.
stuff like that. You can always get more, always get more. And so that brings us into this final part with when it talks about there is nothing lacking. Be content with what you have, rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. And I think that middle part, where if you look to others for fulfillment, there's nothing lacking within you, so you don't need to look to others for fulfillment. There's no lack in your happiness, so you don't have to depend upon money for your happiness. When you start going through this, we realize there is absolutely nothing lacking. There's absolutely nothing that I can't have right now, because the things that are important are integrity, happiness, and being able to learn through success or failure.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I completely agree with that. And I'm analyzing every single word that you're speaking to me, and I'm like just taking it, and the feeling that I'm getting of wow, it's
Yeah,
amazing.
and it's all right here.
I
It's all right
feel
here,
great.
right here. And that's beautiful. Oh,
It is
yeah.
beautiful.
So that's 44. Thank you so much for coming up.
No
I'm over
problem. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm going to bring up Minna. Is it Mina or
Hey,
Minna?
Martin.
Mina or Minna? Mina.
Mina,
That's what I
yes.
thought. I wasn't sure. I just wanted. How are you doing today?
I'm feeling great. How are
I'm
you?
doing very well. I'm doing very well. And my Tao is going well today. We're sharing some stuff, and I'd love to share a little bit with you today.
That's great. Yeah, I see. It's rare that I can hop on your talk because whenever I see you, I say I have to get on and share with Martin my insight about the DAO.
Yeah,
But every time I was busy when your talk was on, so today is just
just magic.
is a lucky day for
Well,
me.
it's not just you. It's a lucky day for me as well.
It's the love attraction,
That's right.
right?
We have been circling each other for a bit, and now here we are. So
Great.
so yeah. So I usually ask for a number, and then we'll go through a chapter together.
Okay. Okay, a number. Like
Between
I'm not used to your
Okay, so
talk, so
between one
just
and
guide
81,
me.
and then we'll read the we'll read that chapter of the Tao together.
Okay, great. Let's say number 8.
Number 8. Okay, so I am reading the Stephen Mitchell translation, and it goes like this. The supreme good is like water, which nourishes all things without trying to. It is content with the low places that people disdain. Thus, it is like the Tao. In dwelling, live close to the ground. In thinking, keep to the simple. In conflict, be fair and generous. In governing, don't try to control. In work, do what you enjoy. In family life, be completely present. When you are content to simply be yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you.
Wow. Yeah. I haven't read the book, the total. I haven't finished the book
Okay, yeah.
yet, but I just choose a number. You know what? This number just resonate uh, with me and what happening in the world right now,
Yes,
right?
yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Don't control, just let it go and go with the flow, kind of. The minute that you try to control something, then you kind of put the power on somebody else, and it's like you make somebody else be dependent on you, kind of. But
Mm,
every one of us, we are independent. We have the choice to do whatever we want to do on this planet Earth. We have the freedom to do whatever we do. The minute we put power we want to control, then we are um we kind of
oh, I
say
can
we
hear
kind of
a
set
little bit.
other people to rely on uh, freedom.
Oh, I've lost you. I don't know. When? It was so
Yeah.
beautiful. I don't know what. I don't want to lose this. Okay. There you are. Is that you? Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
you're
I
here.
can
You're
hear
here.
you
You're
now.
back.
Yeah. Okay, do you hear
I
me
can
well?
hear you well now. Yes.
Okay, good, great. I can hear you also. So have you missed something that I just
I
said?
believe so. Yes, you were yeah.
Okay.
You were saying that like we can't rely on others.
No, we cannot. We can. Well, what I want to say is the power with everything is happening right now in the world, with the war and everything. When you imply the power on somebody and you want to control, then you are perceiving other as weakness, and you want to help them kind of. But in a way, for me, every one of us, we are independent from each other for our freedom, and we don't need of course we need everybody else to co-create, because we're here to co-create together, right? But we don't need somebody else or anything like money or anything to make us happy
Right.
or to make us free from where we are. So the minute that we imply the power on somebody, it's just we are seeing them as weaker than we are,
There's judgment.
that they need us, that they rely on us. But in reality, everybody is equal, everybody is independent.
Yeah.
So if we let them the time to express themselves and be themselves and understand themselves and to go with the flow with them without without putting us in a situation of lack, and that will put them into a situation of more of independent for them to do. Just go back to let's say an example, somebody who in my family need money. I rather give them money to invest in something, show them how to do it, than give them money and then after that they have to come back and ask me more for money. You're giving them the fish can, the fish rod, instead of giving them the fish to eat,
Right. Yeah.
right? So you don't let them rely on you, because otherwise they will get into that habit of dependent on you. So the way to put everybody independent, that they don't rely on you, is to teach them how to do things so that they can be on their own to do it, and they can teach somebody else to do it later
You
on.
know, I think, yeah, I really agree with that. And when we look at this first line, so now we'll go through this line by line and see what we can pull from it.
Mm,
It says, the supreme good is like water, which nourishes all things without trying to. You know, you can teach somebody something, but it is their learning from the supreme good that gets them to a place of being able to do for themselves. You know, like
absolutely.
trusting their journey as connected to the supreme good, as connected to the Tao, as connected to all things. You know, and I really like
Mm,
this. The supreme good is like water, which nourishes all things without trying to. We don't even have to try to
mm,
teach our family. We can just trust our family to learn. Now, that doesn't mean that we turn our back on them, but it also doesn't mean we give them money, right? Like, because that's not helpful. If you don't know how to utilize that money, me giving you money isn't helping you. It is just making you make the
mm.
same mistakes again. But when
Yes,
they find you, that you respect them, that you love them, and that you see them as an equal, not as someone to teach, then all of a sudden they can stand with respect, because maybe they have grown without self-respect, you know.
absolutely. I totally agree with you. And water is kind of go with the flow, right?
Yes, and it just flows and falls into. Pardon me.
Beautiful
Yes,
birds.
that is I love birds. Love birds.
uh,
The supreme. So and then it continues to say, it is content with the low places that people disdain. Thus, it is like the Tao. You know, it's like water gathers in the valley, but the valley is dark and it's cold, and people don't want to be down. You know, like being humble is hard for many people.
mhm,
You know.
absolutely. Some we have the tendency to show what we know
Yes.
unconsciously, right?
Yes, we want to be seen. We want to be heard. We want the credit of living, you know,
Hmm.
as we want the credit of being special.
Yeah, but because that has been programmed inside of us when we were small,
Yes.
and to change that, we have to be conscious about that behavior.
Yeah. And then it goes into these
Totally.
6 things: in dwelling, in
Hmm.
thinking, in conflict, in governing, in work, and in life and family life. All of those are things that we're going to interact with like almost every day, right? In dwelling, live close to the ground. You know, I don't know what that one means so much always. Like, does that mean not in a penthouse? Or does that mean live in a humble way?
I think so. Go to the ground is like grounded, kind of
Yeah. Live
like
simply.
you
Yeah,
yes,
that doesn't necessarily mean, yeah,
simplicity.
live in a like minimal and only have what you and not only what you need, but like know that what you need is provided and that you don't have to fill your life with things that you don't have.
Or another meaning too, if I can, if you can permit me
Please.
to
Yeah.
say it. I think grounded is like a tree,
Yeah.
right? A tree is very stable. It cannot move, but it's it's there if you want to hurt it. It just lets you do it,
Yeah.
and it just grounded. But as human being, we are not a tree, of course, but is in a way, if we can have an attitude, some attitude like a tree, which is big, protective, grounded, go with the
Hmm.
flow, with the weather, any weather that just hit it, it just
Yeah.
receive it, and make something beautiful out of it. Kind
Yes.
of, it still survive, alive, kind of.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah, in living, live close to the ground. So live grounded, live rooted in
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you, right? Live
exactly.
rooted to the earth without without flitting about. You know, every time
Mm-hmm.
something comes up, every time some new technology or new idea comes up, you are still grounded in who you are, in your connection to the Tao, your connection to all things.
Exactly. You're connecting to the source.
Yes. In thinking, keep to the simple. Don't get overcomplicated with your thinking. In conflict, be fair and generous. I love that one. Be both fair and generous in conflict. Don't try and just be greedy. In governing, don't try to control. In work, do what you enjoy. I think this is written so long ago, and still we have a problem with that one. And in family life, be completely present. All of these things are so important in our daily lives.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the live in the present, like Eckhart Tolle taught us, right? Be in the present, the power of now. As I say before, when you carry something that happened to you yesterday to today, you're living in the past. You're not living in the now.
Yeah,
So when you're living in the now is in the present now. Does anybody bother you? No. So if you can let that burden of what bothered you yesterday and forgive and forget, then you'll be living happily today. It's kind of, it's a relief. It's just a letting go of the ore. Don't try to battle it to go upstream. That will drain your energy by thinking about things that bother you
That's
yesterday.
right. Because they're not here right now.
They're not here right now. In the now, there's nothing bothering us,
Right.
right? Nothing bothering you. So most of us, we carry the past with us. The older we are, the more we carry the past with us, and we just thinking about the past. That person or those people bother me, and I cannot forgive that, and I hate
Mm,
them, or
yeah.
they kill my mom and dad or
Yeah.
whatever, you know. So it's the revenge. If we live always in that vibrational energy, of course we're going to attract more and more of that into our life.
Hmm. And this wraps up beautifully as it relates to that. When you are content to simply be yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you.
Exactly. We're here. There's so much in this world. There are abundance. There's things for everybody. The abundance is for everybody. So if you live in a lack, you compare. When you compare, you live in a lack because somebody has something and you don't have it. So when you think that you live in a lack, then you attract lack more to you. That's the law of
That's
attraction.
right. And that's your game. That's your game. And I love that you talk about that here. You do such wonderful work. Thank you so much for joining me today. I want to have you on the Tao of the Day more often. So when you can, please join.
Yeah, thanks, Martin.
Oh, beautiful. What a wonderful day today. We had some great guests. Alex was new for me, Maria was new for me, and then we did a little Spanish stuff today. Oh man, I love this app. I love what we do here. Love that you're joining me. This once again was Tao of the Day. Join me weekdays, sometime in the morning Central Time. I do kind of switch my times up so that different people can join me. But if you see me and you want to join me, always can come and pick a number between 1 and 81, and I will read your Tao for the day. That's right. This is Martin John. I host the Recover Yourself podcast. I also host on Tuesdays here on Wisdom on Recovery, as well as weekdays. I do Tao of the Day. I also do other talks as well, but those are my scheduled ones. Other than that, thank you again for joining me. If I work with a limited number of clients one on one every month, because I work with clients for only 4 sessions, this is all about recovering yourself. This is kind of a coaching work, but it is the deep coaching work that I've learned throughout my years. It starts with some artwork, and I do a portrait with you, and you examine yourself. And as you grow into who you are, I can step back and let you just live your life. I'm so grateful for the work that I do, and I'm grateful for your having listened to me here on Wisdom. Thank you so much. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.